It's the worst of the CBC for November 10th, 2020, the show where I watch the CBC so you don't have to. All right, first things first, the major thing here is going to be they literally did not talk about, zero mentions. 0% of the time was spent to the fact that legally ordered documents revolving around the We scandal relating to Justin Trudeau's paid speaking engagements with We Charity were destroyed. Now, we have to go biggest omission and worst covered stories. That's going to be the biggest omission, obviously. But first, we have to get into the sort of rapid fire. These are the things that just annoy Daniel on a basic level that I always will have to rant about. Okay, two things here. One, the story of, Kamala Harris. She's an inspiration. All the little girls, they thought they could do anything. But now seeing Kamala Harris be vice president, you know what? Now that I see an upper-class Indian doctor lady marry the elite in Jamaican society, they can become, it's so stupid. I just hate the illogic of it. By this logic of until you see someone do something, you can't possibly do it. Inventions. How did we ever invent anything? How did Thomas Edison ever invent anything? How did Nikola Tesla ever invent anything if they didn't see someone invent it before them? Okay? Human ingenuity, you can do it. You go, girl. Who cares? That's stupid. Okay, moving on to the other thing that just bugs me every time this comes up. Rural versus urban, okay? There is nothing against rural Canada here. My gripe here is, and it's often done the rural thing, it's not even from rural people, it's usually done from urban media elites, is why isn't everything totally equal in every single metric between urban and rural communities? And they got women saying, why am I paying, $180 for internet broadband speed when it's, you can get it for $100 in the city and it's more efficient? Yes, that's a trade-off of living in an urban versus rural area. This is one of the things we've known for a while, okay? The reason why me in an urban area gets better internet access than you in a rural area is because there's tons and tons of people around me, which means they invest heavily in the infrastructure around here, right? And it's a lot more cost efficient to do so, right? It's much harder to provide that internet access to everyone out in rural communities because everyone's more spread out, all right? Now, why are you paying less rent in a rural area? And I pay more rent, you're going to pay more for internet access. This is the trade-offs we all understand, okay? Why do you have better air quality in a rural area than I do in urban? Because there's tons of people in the urban area. Air quality goes down. Why can you see the stars at night and I can't? Okay, these are the things we know. And most people in rural areas say, you know what, I'd rather live out here. Property is cheaper, crime rates will be lower, less there's a bunch of trade-offs and everyone's understood this forever, but pretending why isn't everything equal between, Toronto and 3 hours outside Thunder Bay? Oh, must be racism, systemic racism. No. This is something humans have known forever. Some people like the trade-offs of living in rural areas better. Some people like the trade-offs living in urban areas better. Get over it. Stop hyperventilating over this, CBC. Drives me nuts. Okay. Throw that out. Okay, worst covered story. Again, we're not even talking about the fact that potentially, we could be going to the legal challenges in the American electoral system. Not a single mention of any of the videos we have. I literally saw videos today of guys counting ballots, literally showing, hey, here's a Donald Trump ballot, then ripping it up and throwing it over his shoulder. Now, is this going to change any states because this one guy? No, we only saw him destroy 3 Trump ballots on camera. Maximum, he could have destroyed hundreds. But, it is something worth investigating. There's more evidence of that than the Russia collusion theory. Remember, the only reason Donald Trump won the White House in 2016 was because Russian Facebook bots were making Facebook posts. Yes, Vladimir Putin had 15-year-olds in Moscow make Facebook posts, and that's why Donald Trump won the election. Actual Russian conspiracy theory. Now, the biggest omission, as I said at the beginning, not one single mention of the fact that documents that were legally ordered around the We Charity scandal were destroyed. Okay. This goes out to everyone on the left, including my family, who is saying things like, do you think Trump is going to, Trump's going to pardon himself, or he's going to step down as president and make Pence president, and Pence is going to pardon him, so that, for what crime? For what crime? What crime? Name the crime. Name the crime. Name it! I know you're all hyper-intelligent people. Leaders in academia. Name the crime. None of them have been able to name the crime. Oh, it's just a nebulous feeling he's bad. Okay. Justin Trudeau. It's obstruction of justice, right? Destroying legally ordered documents surrounding a corruption scandal. Now, I'm not saying lock him up right here. I'm saying cover that. Do stories on that. That should be the lead story in the CBC, not America. Right? I get COVID-19 vaccination, fine. You want to do the COVID-19 vaccine? That can be the number one. Sure. It's a big story globally. Fine. The fact that the Prime Minister's party has destroyed documents legally ordered around a major scandal. And isn't this what you're like accusing Trump of doing, of enriching himself in the White House? Like, Trump was a billionaire before he goes in. Like, the whole We Charity scandal is Justin Trudeau was using a charity as a political slush fund, right? Sending government dollars to the We Charity. They'd make money off of that, and they'd siphon money back off in speaking engagement fees to liberals. Okay? And they destroyed these documents. Again, I'm not saying throw him in jail right now. I'm saying cover the story, say exactly what happened to Canadians so they realize, hey, you know what? I don't like that. That sounds shady. That sounds corrupt. You know, you can't be going around pretending you're all morally superior to Donald Trump and Donald Trump's a criminal when you're literally doing this, okay? So it brings up the interesting question of, like, what type of propaganda is our state media? Because it's, yes, the CBC is state-controlled media, and yes, it is biased propaganda. But let's be honest, if Andrew Scheer or Stephen Harper did this, they'd be covering it to ad nauseum. So the conspiracy of who controls the CBC, and this is probably the best answer, is there is probably no top-down control from the government. There's no, liberal minister on the phone like saying, don't cover the story, don't cover the story. The problem is, right, you don't need this type of massive government-level conspiracy where there's, like, illicit directions being given from the top when the left has fully infiltrated, right, the academia and the media circles. So when everyone in that newsroom is on the left, and your one right-wing person is either Charles Adler, or who's the other guy? Charles Adler's job it is to cry about the Conservative Party. One of those other, Michael Corrin. Yeah, those two idiots, right? When they're your conservatives, right? Then it's, yes. Right? So you just don't think you need to cover these things, and no one calls you on your bias. Like, you don't need Justin Trudeau to call the CBC or Global News and say, cover this for me this way, right? It's just, they're all on the red team, and they're playing for the red team, and just, Prime Minister destroys documents of scandal that were legally obtained, but Donald Trump, it's driving me absolutely insane. So, what do they get? Like, I would give it a 10 out of 10, but, fine, Ryan Reynolds' story, good. There's a bunch of stuff for Veterans Day and Remembrance Day. I'll never slag him on that. I think that's important. You can cover the vaccine. But just not mentioning the Prime Minister's thing, like, it's going to have to be an 8 out of 10. Now, this very easily should have been a 1 or a 2. If they had just covered the Trudeau story in any capacity, it would be a 1 or a 2. But this has to be an 8 out of 10 on the Rosemary Barton scale of bias. Ridiculous. And I'll see everyone Wednesday nights, 8 p.m. We're going live on YouTube and Facebook. Click the bell, subscribe to the like, the things, push all the buttons, and then, live long and prosper. Who cares?